What is happening, Budge Builders, and welcome back to the channel. It is a rainy day here. We do have a few things in here, specifically the 911, but we're waiting on parts. Stuff is coming so slow right now. We got something here we want to mess with. We were at the scrapyard a few months ago, and they had a really cool 1968 C-Series cab over, huge water truck. I'd love to have saved the thing, but way too big. There's just no way we could have possibly considered getting it home and storing it. But it did have this 1965 Ford Industrial 240 power unit. Super cool piece. Just love the industrial tractor look that it has. Now the truck was a county truck. It had been parked since 1980. And in today's video, we're gonna try to get this thing running for the first time in 41 years.
How's it going? I'm Michael and this is Budget Builds. My dad and I bring rusty, crusty old cars back to life.
Let's go ahead and get an eye on this thing, start checking everything out, and finding out if it's free or not. Just checking things out here. Not bad looking oil. It has some rust on the dipstick, but I don't know, it doesn't look like it has water in it. Let's go ahead, get these spark plugs pulled, get an idea of the condition of our cylinders, and verify that it turns over. I'm not sure what kind of material these wires are, but look at those. They're all chewed up from mice. Oh, but not completely through. Whew. Those are some crispy spark plugs though. Do you mind dragging the air hose over here real quick, please, so we can blow them off? A lot of old paint and crust all down in this thing. Definitely don't want it dropping down into the cylinders. Not too shabby. No rust on that plug. Kind of a nice engine to access stuff on. Another pretty good looking plug. You see it's an older plug, but not looking too bad. Another not too bad looking plug. Obviously they're really trusty on the outside, but thankfully so far, down that cylinder looks like it might have been a little on the dead side. Hopefully not. Another good looking plug. Nice. See, they're older plugs, really crusty, but thankfully on the cylinder side we look good. Just because though, we will load it down. We know it was quite literally sitting outside for many years. We've got our 1-inch socket, some nice extension here. And if we come up through, this is actually where you would start this thing if you needed to hand crank it. You ready? Maybe, there it goes. Oh yeah. Whew, that's a lot of motor. Spins over nicely though. You can tell we had quite a bit of rust on those belts. What's crazy is you can see this motor was painted so long ago. And it was painted with the belts on it. I bet this thing has like no hours on it, because the entire truck was painted white, and I probably came yellow and they painted the whole truck in one go and painted it all together, so it makes you wonder. Crazy. We do have the positive cable, which runs over here to the starter solenoid, but we didn't have a negative because it was actually grounded out to the truck. So I threw this red cable on, not to confuse anyone. And now we have positive and negative. Let's go ahead and see if that old starter still works. We have our jumper wire jumped over to the signal. Let's see what we get. Oh! Alrighty. Well, it works. Oh my God. I guess that's... This thing's ready to run. It's cranking itself over. Good grief. Just have that loosely on there. That solenoid is shot. Let's go ahead and get a new solenoid. And obviously, by the looks of that oil filter, we know how long this thing has been sitting. Let's change this oil so we have good and fresh in there before we try to fire it up anymore. Clearly, this thing was designed to have its oil changed up in the air like it was on that truck. We're going to throw a jack up underneath the front right here, get it tilted back, and we should have enough room to fit a pan up underneath it. Now we've got room. Get that 7/8 wrench on there. It's crazy, is that thing's paint. I wonder if this thing's ever had the oil changed. My goodness. It's equipment for you sometimes. I like with it tilted back too. We know we'll get every little bit out of the bottom of that pan.
Means we just have to put more oil in there.
Wow, that is some old dark oil. My goodness. Now we can get this ancient filter changed. Oh my goodness. Been on there a long time. Oh. I'm sure you know if this was in a car and you didn't have room, there'd be a screwdriver going through it. Look at that. We already had oil pressure. I don't like for it to push a ton of that crud through, but it is nice to see that it was actually moving. Otherwise that filter would have been completely empty, kind of like it was on the 67 when we first got it going. Brand new Motorcraft FL1A filter. We will go ahead and pre-lube it. Now I did fill this thing up with oil, and quite honestly, it was all the random leftover oil in the shop. It's all new though. Before we even attempt to turn it over anymore, let's go ahead, throw in a new starter solenoid. Old and new. I did go ahead, take our file, clean up all of our connections so we know we're good to go there. And now we shouldn't be sticking like we were before. Okay. We were low, but only about a half a gallon low, and what's really nice is, as you can see, boom, antifreeze in there. Old antifreeze, but still, that's always awesome to see. Water's never fun. Water freezes. Let's see what we got. Oh boy. Turn it over nicely. Let's see if we can figure out our fire. Now this cap is pretty crusty. You can tell it has seen some moisture. We have some rust and crust down in here as well. But I want to see if we can get those points and condensers working before we try replacing. And also, I do have a used but pretty nice replacement cap. So we'll swap that cap out just so we know we have nice good contacts in there. Now down in here, what I'm going to do is grab a screwdriver. Points are currently closed. Open them up, take our sandpaper, Look at all that gunk. Let's do that a few times. Probably wonder why I'm doing this instead of just replacing. New points, new condenser, the quality's absolutely horrendous. The points aren't near as bad, the condensers are terrible. I can't tell you how many condensers I've stuck in there. You use it one time and they're dead, if they even work to begin with. But these old ones just continue to work as long as they're still good. What we're gonna go ahead and do is I'll go ahead and jump out the coil with a positive. And what we're going to be looking for is a spark. It'll be jumping from these points here. Nothing. Even after some cleaning, we've got our volt gauge here. And we have no continuity at all, so no connection happening there. Let's go ahead first and try to replace the points and see if we have anything. If not, we'll replace the condenser too. With that in there, no connection. Do you mind spinning it over, please? Yep, that's good to go. I have a bunch to edit out of this. The coil's jumping out. Oh my. I think we're good to go now, aren't we? With our fuel system in place, well, our fuel line run to our gas tank, let's turn this over a little bit and verify whether or not this fuel pump runs before we even try to hook it up to power and try to start it. It's so much. Oh, let's go ahead and pop that off. Make sure there's no nest in it.
A jar?
Yeah, let's probably get a jar. It's a good idea. Nice and clean down in there. Now, as long as this has been sitting, it was probably run with old leaded fuel, non-ethanol. So maybe we won't have to get in that carburetor. I say that every time, but we always do. See if we get some pull fuel in. Some pull fuel in? Some fuel pulling. That looks like a no bueno. Oh, poopy. Look, it's gonna start dripping. I wonder if it's got a clog in it. Wait, I wonder if there's a mud dauber up in there. Yes. Darn. This fuel line was off, and apparently it had been off for a minute. And yeah, there's mud dauber up in there. Let's go ahead and just pull this line. Oh, jeez.
Turn the fuel pump. Careful, don't.
Under pressure. Now that we have a sparking system, let's just spray fuel all over everything. Unhook that real quick, please. It's stifling.
That much longer.
Beautiful. The only thing, we want to put this filter there. We are fuel systemized now. Let's go ahead and push through, get some pressure. I did put the filter here because of all that trash we had there. Right?
I have no clue.
Yep. Okay. So I want to be able to cut this thing off in case of an emergency or something. So I want, just in case it's looped through power-wise, I did go ahead and disconnect that from the resistor right here, and now we can run power. Here we go, you ready? I see a little bit of fuel in there. Don't you love it? Oh my goodness. Holy smokes.
That's it.
Wow, don't you just love it when they're that ready to roar back to life? Something with low hours that was well kept. I don't know about well kept up with. That was last time it was ran with that old leaded, non-ethanol fuel, quality stuff. It has that internal accelerator pump, so you know it's not all dried out or anything. It actually just uses a little plastic bushing. I think that's really the reason it did that. It was kind of like if you remember our 67 F100 and the 66 F350 we have, these old Ford inline six motors, if you take those few proper steps to get the thing running, boom, they fire back to life and they are ready to go. Obviously that exhaust is completely busted up. It sounds terrible. This thing is nasty. It's been sitting for quite a few years. We actually grabbed it because it was that 240 industrial. I'm not sure if it originally thought it was a 300. The 300s have forged internals. You can throw a boost at them and everything. I'm not sure about the 240, and we ended up with a few more other things, and we really don't need this engine anymore. So this one will probably actually end up going for sale if someone wants something like this. Pretty reasonable. We'd love to send it on to the next person, maybe for a little sawmill or something, or even a generator. This thing is just stinking cool. That is going to wrap it up for this episode. I hope you enjoyed us rescuing this thing from the scrapyard before it got crushed. I do wish we could have saved that 68 C-Series, or at least the cab. We just have so much, we don't have all the room. If you enjoy this kind of stuff and you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and notification bell, and if you are a part of, it's hot in here. If you have already subscribed to the channel, we really do appreciate all the love and support that you all have given us so far. We could not be where we are without all of you. That'll wrap it up. Peace out. Catch you all on the flip side. You can call it fake, but I just call it a Ford.